Let's talk a little Inter Miami. Big win yesterday. And the man that was there is Franco Panizo, ready to rock and roll with us. Franco, how you doing, my brother?
How are you, brother? Sorry for the delay. There's new Wi-Fi being installed in this house. There's a big hole in the front yard because I had to put in some new wires and whatnot. So I was having difficulties getting onto the new network. But here we are. Here we are.
All right, I like it. You got the outside look now. You got the you're in the back porch or something, right? Is that what it looks like?
Yeah, too much noise on the inside.
Right,
The family's buzzing over last night's win still, so I had to come outside.
Yeah, it was a nice win yesterday. Franco, of course, you can follow him on Twitter at Franco Panizo. Check out Miami Total Football, terrific podcast covering Inter Miami last night, 3-2. Another terrific win for them overall, points in 4 out of their last 5 games. The funny part is I still don't think they're a good team, but I respect their grit, dude. And that's what I love, that I got to give Neville credit. He has found a way for his team to play and stay in a game week in and week out, even against good teams, because, you know, a lot of this stretch was against some of the good teams. Last night and Saturday, you've got an opportunity to get some points against some bad teams. So it's a great opportunity for them. But would you call them gritty, or would you call them an adjective that's much more complimentary?
Gritty's not a bad description of Inter Miami right now. I mean, they have been playing some better soccer in terms of with the ball at their feet and trying to make attacking sequences and knit together attacking sequences, but they're not this powerhouse, right? They're not a team that overwhelms you with the ball. So I think they're a team that competes hard, that is gritty, that fights, that has improved very notably in that regard, because they were struggling for much of the season, just being able to even compete. So they've gotten better in that regard, and now that's allowed them to stay in games and give themselves chances in games, and they're now starting to find ways to win games. They've pulled a couple of rabbits out of the hat late in the last 2 home games. They've had the ball bounce their way, or maybe as in the beginning of the season, it wasn't bouncing their way at all. So it's a combination of things. But yes, Phil Neville has gotten the team to buy in, by and large, a little bit more now than they had during the first couple of months, or the first few months of the season. Things are trending in a more upward direction now, but there's still a lot of work to be done during this second half of the season to make the playoffs.
Another thing that's been key, there is some really nice passes, man. I mean, they something that probably lacked a lot earlier this year and all of last year. During this streak here, we've seen them set each other up nicely for some of these goals and some of these opportunities, even if they didn't end up in a goal.
Yeah, there's more soccer to this team now. There's more connecting of passes, of creating attacking sequences, of finding one another, and having a better understanding between players. Again, I think Phil Neville's tactics have helped because he's solidified the defensive side of things by putting more numbers back there. He's gone to I know some people like to call it a 3-man backline because there's 3 center backs, but it's really a 5-man backline when you look at it, because the wing backs, even though they get into the attack, their main positions on the defensive side is to drop deep. And maybe yesterday you could say, all right, Lewis Morgan's more of an attack-minded player, but it's been Kelvin Leerdam and Kieran Gibbs by and large, or Nicolas Figal. It's usually 2 defensive-minded players. So it's a 5-man back line. That helps limit the spaces in behind, limits the opportunities your opponent has. If they're not getting on the scoreboard, that keeps you in the game, and that's allowed Inter Miami to compete better. Because, look, I think yesterday maybe was the first game that we saw moments where they actually had numerical advantages in the attack, where they actually had more numbers than the defense has. That's a key component in soccer and football, having numerical advantages or creating numerical advantages for yourself. And Inter Miami, by and large, hasn't done that, hasn't had that, because they don't throw that many numbers forward. In this one, especially on that game-winning play that Rodolfo Pizarro scores, it's a byproduct of a lot of things, but including the fact that Inter Miami has a lot of numbers forward because they were looking to win the game and they were pushing numbers forward. So when you have that many numbers forward and you're not that easy to mark, you know, there's only so many defenders. When you have that numerical advantage, it's obviously a big plus for you in football. So that's something Inter Miami is improving on, but the emphasis still is on defense first, by and large. So we'll see how it goes, because as the season progresses, Inter Miami's probably going to have to start taking more chances because they have points to make up and they need goals to make up those points.
Yeah, big time. I thought he should have started in the last game, but I was glad that they started Vasilev in this game, because exactly to piggyback what you're talking about, he's one of those guys that can create those mismatches for you because he brings a little bit more speed. Something actually I think you and I have talked about earlier in the season, that there wasn't enough speed on this team. And I thought Vasilev has actually helped them in that area and helped them, like you say, now try to create some advantages in the attack.
And I asked Phil Neville after the game about the attack, because this is the first time this season Inter Miami has scored 3 goals in a game. Second time in franchise history that's happened. That's the most that they've ever scored in a single game. The other time was last year at the
Orlando.
The home door played behind closed doors at Drive Pink Stadium. The first game at Drive Pink Stadium for Inter Miami, the 3-2 victory against Orlando City. So they matched their output in terms of goals that they've ever scored and most this season. And Phil Neville said that, he put in the front line that he thinks has the most goals. Gonzalo Higuain's the leading goal scorer. Robbie Robinson's a goal scoring threat, and Indiana Vasilev had recently scored. And it's probably, it's still early to say, but early signs might be that he's more of a goal scoring threat than Lewis Morgan. Now, that doesn't mean he's a better player than Lewis Morgan. That just means he's more of a goal scoring threat than Lewis Morgan. Whereas Lewis Morgan is more of an assist man. He can set you up. Does Lewis Morgan score goals on occasion too? Sure, he does, but might be more of a setup man, an assist man, than he is a goal scorer. So Vasilev has brought that on with the team. He's also brought in some fresh legs and some speed, which is notable, as you mentioned, as we've talked about before, because MLS is a league that stresses more often than not the physical aspects. Most of the league is based on physical before technical. There are technical players, there are teams with technical skills, but the physical aspect is probably the biggest aspect of this league. It's what foreign players talk about when they come here. By and large, it's not a league that necessarily is based on technical soccer. It's more about physical soccer, your speed, your strength, your pace, your power. That's by and large the qualities that would describe soccer or football in MLS by and large. So he brings that on board. Inter Miami has not had enough of that, has not had enough athleticism, has not had enough speed. And I think that's been one of the issues that they've had by and large. And I think you can see it when Robbie Robinson is out there.
Right. And now he's healthy and playing. So yeah, now you've added
and when he's not,
you're adding a lot now for their team at least.
Yeah. And when he's not been around, it's just to further drive home the point. When he's not been around, they struggle in the attack a lot more. And it's not because Robbie Robinson is this incredible player with the ball. It's just that his speed and the aggressiveness he has with the ball just gives Inter Miami, in a league where physical qualities are higher, rated higher. It gives them something they miss without him, because Gonzalo Higuain's not a speedster. Blaise Matuidi, Gregory are not fast, or
those guys are
super fast. Yeah, well, exactly. I'm just just speed in general is not something Miami has in abundance. So
I'm with you. Higuain, dude, going back to last year to this year, considering all the chances he's had, he has not fit. I mean, he's been a better midfielder than he's been a forward right now. It's crazy. Is it just bad luck or something? What's going on with him? Because, man, there's several goals in the first 2 seasons so far that we can look at and say, dude, you should have, finished it. And he has not. What they brought him here to do, he hasn't been able to do. Why?
I mean, he still has 8 goals this season. He's still the leading goal scorer on the team by a pretty wide margin. I think the second place is Robbie Robinson with 3 after last night's goal. So,
yeah, my brother, that's like having a scorer in an NBA expansion team, and the guy averages 20 points. And yeah, he averaged 20 points, but he's really not a 20-point scorer. It's because the team sucks.
That's not the same.
Somebody needs to score. So, with Higuain having those goals, after all those chances, he's the only goal scorer, like world-class goal scorer.
I'm gonna have to put you out there, because I remember at the first game of the season at Drive Pink Stadium, we had a little chat at halftime, and you were giving me stick
Yeah, because
for
he said like
saying
25
15
goals or something.
Absolutely. That is the mark of a great goal scorer in MLS. 15.
Right, but
you said 15. He's halfway there. He's halfway to 15.
okay.
He's halfway to 15.
Yeah.
And we're at the halfway point of the season, so he might hit your mark. Which 15 goals in a 34 game season, it's average. It's average. It's less than a goal every other game. Which if you're an $8 or $6 million man like he is reportedly, then you need to be scoring more than that. Now,
okay, so why isn't he meeting your standard?
Well, because the team's just not very good, and the team just doesn't generate a whole lot. Now, in this one last night, the team did create more chances. He did have several looks. He missed a few that he probably should put on frame that you would expect someone of his caliber to put on frame. But look, football is like that. Not every game you're going to be finito, as they say, or you're not going to be at your level. So I think with the ball at his feet, he's been better this season more often than not. Even yesterday, look, he doesn't score, doesn't find the back of the net, but still he has a hand in all 3 goals. I honestly think he's up there for man of the match. I think he's up there for man of the match. I think if I had to give somebody, if there's a vote, like a personal vote, I think I might give him man of the match just because he has a hand in all 3 goals.
Yeah, I know.
He plays the first one to Robbie Robinson on the shot that gets saved, and then the rebound by Vasilev. He directly sets up Robbie Robinson on the second one with a good, nice cut.
And by the way, that was a sweet little boot by Robbie to score that one. That was nice.
And then Gonzalo Higuain helps set up the third one. You know, he dribbles by 2 defenders from a deeper area, finds Victor Ulloa with a good weighted pass, and Victor Ulloa obviously feeds Pizarro for the win. So Higuain had a hand in all 3 goals. Yes, he was not clinical in front of goal yesterday. Missed again a couple of looks that he at least should put on frame. You saw in the broadcast actually something that's notable. Beckham's reaction to a couple of Higuain's misses. They focused on Beckham's reaction, and I don't know, kind of eye opening there to see how David Beckham reacted to some of those misses. I'm not gonna say anything more than that. But you look at the images yourself, and you come up with your conclusions.
Oh, he threw an F-bomb. He threw an F-bomb on that last one. He screamed like F as he was turning around because obviously he's so aware the cameras are going to be on him. So he was turning around, but the camera still caught him. Throwing the F-bomb, which I'm sure
that was the second time in this game.
Which I'm sure somebody from the organization is going to go tell the camera guy, "Don't ever do that again." Don't.
It's funny. It's funny that you say that because clearly in this game there was some instruction of some sort to focus on David Beckham's reactions in this one, but when you see him kind of losing his cool, and that's not necessarily in the David Beckham brand.
Oh no!
I like you, and listen, look, we've worked on the inside for quite a while, so we know how it works. I would also not be surprised. Definitely a thought that came to my head. It was like, yeah, we might not be seeing that many cut scenes of David Beckham's reactions after this one, because that's not part of the Beckham brand to see him losing his cool. Especially, again, for me, there's a couple plays that they show his reaction to Gonzalo Higuain's misses, and he didn't look happy. Oh. And obviously, you're not going to be happy after a miss, but look at Phil. They actually show on the second one, the play you're talking about. They show Phil Neville's reaction first, and the coaching staff's reaction, and they're kind of in disbelief, frustrated, but oh man. But David Beckham was angry, angry. It's just like his body and everything. He was you could see that. He didn't look at Gonzalo Higuain when he came out of the game and went to his bench. You see David Beckham standing in the background, never looks like Gonzalo Higuain. But
and trust me, they're ultra sensitive over there. Like ultra sensitive.
Hey man, okay. Look, but maybe David Beckham was just focused on the game. He just didn't notice Gonzalo Higuain walking off. But
they're like the University of Miami. They are like very ultra sensitive when it comes to all that stuff. So I would not be surprised if they're like, hey, don't film David Beckham and all that stuff.
I'm glad somebody else sees it though. I'm glad somebody else sees it and brings it up, because if it's me, then it's like, oh, it's just Franco trying to ruffle feathers or something. But I'm glad somebody else sees it and brings it up in conversation here.
I don't work for them anymore, bro. So I don't have to play the politics. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm back to who I am, who I've been for 31 years. I'm going to call it like I see it, whether you
I
like it or
respect
not.
that.
You know,
I
that's
respect that.
that's just the way it is. But I know what's going to happen behind the scenes. They're going to tell those camera people, don't ever do that again. Don't catch the effect.
CBS 4 is having a meeting as we speak.
Oh,
I'm just
for
kidding.
sure. For sure. They already have it. The PR person is calling their asses because they're super uptight over there, bro. Super up. One time they Dono was wearing an Inter Milan mask because he's an Inter Milan fan.
Sure.
We had a mask up in the studio, and they like called him like, "Hey, you shouldn't be wearing the Inter Milan mask." It's like, what are you talking about, man? Get out of here. You know, and obviously I didn't take that bullshit. But it's like crazy. It just, you know, they're ultra sensitive over there. So I when I saw that, I go, oh, there's a conversation coming tomorrow. But he was there's no doubt he was pissed. For Robbie, by the way, the goal, I think we're starting to see the kid start coming into his own now. I think the confidence is coming back. I think he now feels like he's overcome the injuries of the last season and a half. That the poor kid, unfortunately, has dealt with all kinds of crap. But it kind of looks to me like Robbie is now settling in now. Do you see the same thing?
I see a more confident player and a player
Yeah.
that's being better used in the position that he's in. Because again, I know he's played striker by and large, and maybe that's where he feels most comfortable. But I think based on what his attributes are in MLS, I think outside suits what he can give you. And I think we're seeing that by and large. Even the goal yesterday, it comes from a central position in the penalty area, but the run starts from him coming from the outside, from the right side, makes a diagonal run inward, and then obviously gets on the end of the great cutback pass from Gonzalo Higuain. So I think tactically Inter Miami's using him better. I think he's adapted and adjusted well to the new position. Also allows him to take shots and be involved in the attack. And I'm sure Phil Neville's instructions are, go at the defenders, take your shots, be aggressive. So I think it's a combination of factors. Phil Neville and coaching staffs work with him. I think his development as a young player, and he also looks better in this position. So I think there's more to come from him. Still think he needs to use or develop a left foot, and that could be critical. And people can take that how they want, but there's going to be moments and games throughout his career where he's going to have to use his left foot, and if he doesn't, it's going to cost him and whatever team he's on goals or points or moments. Look, the goal he scored yesterday was a good goal, but that play, like in Spanish, they say lo que te pide la jugada, which is like what the play is asking for. Based on the positioning and his body posture and everything, that's for a left-footed shot. Now, he took it with the outside part of his right foot. It went in, so it doesn't matter. It's a goal. But in other occasions, if you try to shoot that with your right foot, you might put that off frame. It's not the by the book way to shoot the ball on that type of play. You're supposed to open your hips, hit the far post. He scored, so I won't take anything away from him, but he needs to develop a left foot, because we've seen on other occasions where his over-reliance on his right takes him away from goal, or it costs him moves to continue to progress up the field or get by a defender. Quickly, if just to touch on a different player, Tati Castellanos, New York City FC over the weekend, the one play where he intercepts the pass from Nicolas Figal and then races forward on a clean breakaway by himself. If he shoots the ball with the left foot, because that play asked for a left-footed finish, he scores. But because he decided to go outside part of the right foot, he pushed it too far of the post. And it's moments like that will happen for Robbie Robinson, over the course of his career, if he doesn't develop the left foot at least somewhat. Doesn't have to be an expert with his left foot, but needs to be able to use it in moments on occasion. I think we did see him use it in the Orlando City game. So to be fair to him, he did use it in the Orlando City game when he actually took the defender on the dribble, went to his left, and then clipped the goalkeeper. The ball was going towards goal, but it was cleared off the line by forget which Orlando City defender it was, but it was cleared off the line. So, if he can keep developing his left foot, it just makes him a much more dangerous weapon for Inter Miami, having a much better player for his career and his prospects going forward.
Follow him on Twitter at Franco Panizo and catch the podcast at Miami Total Football. One last thing here before I let you go. And let me apologize ahead of time. This is the cynical one in me, because I've been at this for 31 years. People have lied to me. They've misled me. So this is
Hey, I'm
what I've
cynical too, brother. I'm cynical too, man. I say it on Miami Total Football. I say it on Miami Total Football on a semi-weekly basis or a regular basis. I say it all the time. I tell Steve Brenner, who does the podcast with me, I'm like, I know I'm more cynical than you are, Steve, but this is just how I see things and how I view
it's the
things.
way the
So.
business has turned us because
Oh yeah.
unfortunately, well, okay, so we have inner fans that are like, oh, Pizarro scored. All right, great. He's turned the corner. Cynical one in me says, okay, great. See if he can score a couple more or assist, and you can showcase his ass so you can get him the hell out of here. Because that's what I was thinking when he scored. I'm thinking, okay, maybe he can do a little some so he can get somebody to bite because I'm not buying it. I guess he scored. I get it. It was set up perfectly for him. A professional player at his level should be able to finish that play more often than not. So he finished it. God bless him. Good luck for him. Great. He helped the team win. But it's more about showcasing his ass and getting him out of here by the end of the year, correct?
Well, I mean, yes, but Inter Miami also, if they wanted to push to the playoffs, if they want to try to make this run here during these final 16 games now of the season, they need him to also chip in with some goals and assists. This was his first goal of the season, in addition to the 2 assists he's delivered in 2021. So Inter Miami needs him to find ways to make an impact like he did last night. He was the man of the match. Talked after the game about the issues he has dealt with. He said he lost confidence. He didn't feel important. Things you can attribute to how his 2021 has developed, how you could say how Phil Neville's maybe managed him as well, not giving him the confidence and sticking with him in moments, even when he struggled, which, again, is if that's what Phil Neville thought is best for the team, then that's understandable, but it also impacts how Pizarro felt. So a step in the right direction for Pizarro last night, but I agree with you that even last night I don't think it was his best performance that we've seen from him. Even though he's the man of the match, he donned the hero's cape. My brother and my family, who are season ticket holders, my brother's a big Pizarro guy, was calling him the MVP for the game last night, and I was like, I don't know if I could give him that MVP. Here's just a quick stat. Funny that you asked me about him. He scores the game winner. That's what people will talk about. But he came off the bench in the 62nd minute, and he had 16 passes. He connected on 56.3% of them. So he not like he connected a whole lot of passes out there. He brought some energy, sure. And he did some good things with the ball, and he did some good things off the ball in terms of running around and putting some pressure on Chicago Fire players. But it wasn't this incredible masterclass of soccer. It's a step in the right direction for a player that's been low on confidence, that needs a boost, and he got a boost last night. So step in the right direction for him. Inter Miami needs more of that from him. I imagine still that with him this winter, they probably will. It just doesn't seem like it's a match made in heaven. So, and that is important though. Just quickly to touch on that a little bit more, to dissect it a little more. It is important for players to feel important. Especially players that are of that caliber.
Keep your minds in the game, man. Of course, for sure.
And he touched on it. I just wrote a piece on it, and he touched on it quite a bit last night in Spanish, of course. But I just wrote something in English for people that don't speak Spanish who might want to check it out. And he talks about that. He talks about needing to feel important to feel good, and that's what helps drive him as a player. So, things haven't really gone well for him this season by and large. Now, Phil Neville's not the guy that brought him in. Last year, the first half of the season, Pizarro was the guy. He was the man. He was the DP. He was the face. Diego Alonso brought him in. Diego Alonso had history working with him in 2 previous clubs. So he felt that importance. He felt that responsibility. And he's a player that apparently likes that role, likes feeling like that. So with Phil Neville maybe, and with Gonzalo Higuain there, maybe he felt like he wasn't as important, and that impacted his standing along with other things. But again, step in the right direction for the team.
Good stuff. Let's hope they can pick up a few more points against Toronto. Very winnable game on Saturday for Inter Miami. So let's hope they can get it done. Follow my man Franco on Twitter at Franco Panizo. More importantly, subscribe to the podcast. Smash that like button while you're at it. Miami Total Football. He does excellent work covering that team on a daily basis. You want to know about Inter Miami? Follow him there and listen to the podcast. Franco, as always, you're a stud, my brother. Thank you for taking some time, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me on as always, Big O, and I appreciate the honest and candid talks that are not common in the sport.
Well, it's the only way I know how to do it, my brother. Appreciate you. He froze completely right at the end there. See it? But we appreciate it. Thank you, my brother. He froze there, but I kind of know where he was going. But yeah, it's one of those things. So for sure they're gonna have a conversation with Channel 4. I can guarantee you. I can guarantee you, man. When they caught Beckham throwing that F bomb and turning around, oh man, they don't want any part of that on TV. That's for damn sure. Great stuff by Franco. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Franco Panizo and catch the podcast. He does excellent work, man. Miami Total Football, MIA Total Football, by the way, if you want to